meeting. I apologize that you are not seeing me in person, although I am fine. I am doing abundance of caution, making sure that I don't have any COVID anywhere near me, so I am doing this remotely from my office. So as we begin today, let's begin with the pledge, and Commissioner Dean DiGirolamo will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and as we do on the second meeting of every month, we will give the community recognition. It's a little odd for me to do that from here, so Commissioner Harvey will take it.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Glad you're feeling better. So yes, as Commissioner Marseglia said, second meeting of the month, we recognize those employees who have been with us for milestones. And so it's our pleasure to have 4 people we're recognizing today. 3 could not be here, or 3 could be here, 1 could not. So we'll start the one employee who could not be here today, celebrating or marking 20 years working at the district court level, specifically with Judge Wagner, Jennifer Seiger. So we thank her for 20 years. And I think Commissioner DiGirolamo is going to be presenting a gift to her. Also from the judicial side of the House, from the Youth Center, celebrating 20 years, Sharon Carnahan. And forward, you're welcome to say something if you want to say something. We have something for you here as well.
I've really enjoyed the last 20 years here.
Okay.
It's really always busy, and the people I work with are great. It's really nice. I enjoy it.
Good. Well, good. It's a good group of you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Celebrating 30 years, Jody Reimold at Parks and Rec. Jody? She here? No? Okay, all right. Well, we thought she was going to be here, but maybe she's running a little late. So, but will we have something for her in case she doesn't show up? And Ms. Nagel can present that to her if she ends up not being here at the meeting. Also 30 years, Health Services at Neshaminy Manor, Victoria Hall.
Hi, I've worked at the Manor for 30 years and I enjoy it. The residents there are great, the staff is great. I'm very proud, to tell people that I work there. I think it's an incredible nursing home, and I just love it there. So that's why I'm still there.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That's
All right, Commissioner Marseglia, if Ms. Reimold comes in, we'll let you know, but otherwise I'll turn it back to you to resume the agenda.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to all of our employees. Our next presentation today is about the DRIP program. We have been watching us with this for a couple years, and Eileen Alvar, our clerk, of course, is here to do that presentation.
Thank you, Commissioners. Good morning, Commissioners, and thank you so much for the opportunity to update you on the Delinquency Recovery Program. I'm Eileen Hartnett Albiar, and I'm the Clerk of Courts. The Delinquency Recovery Program, or DRIP as we affectionately call it, was implemented 4 years ago by my predecessor and continues to grow. DRIP provides a way for people who owe court costs, fines, fees, and victim restitution on old criminal cases to make payments in a dignified manner. The cases we're pursuing can be as old as 35 years. Next slide, please. Our current outstanding balance is about almost $250 million. And that's court costs, fines, fees, and restitution, and most of which it will not be recovered for various reasons. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to try, which is why DRIP was created and implemented. Our first DRIP payment was received on June 29th, 2020, and the program cost is our investment in the effort to recoup money for taxpayers and victims. Next slide. So in July of this year, just last month, we hit the $2 million mark, almost exactly 4 years to the day since the program started, and why I wanted to take the opportunity to recognize this milestone for the taxpayers of Bucks County. All of this is new money that otherwise would not have been recouped for the county or victims of crime who are owed restitution. And the dedicated efforts to make the victims whole is the most satisfying part. Next slide, please. Where does the money go? More than half stays right here in the county, 55%, and benefits our taxpayers. 24% has gone to the Commonwealth, and 21% to victims of crime who are owed restitution. This continues to be a significant return on the investment into the DRIP program. Next slide. So these are actual dollars. Of the $2 million received, over half stayed in the county, and over $420,000 has been paid to victims who were owed restitution. And I'm proud that we've never given up on the pursuit of what is owed to the victims of crime, some of whom had never seen a dime. Our job is to locate the defendant, create a payment plan, and set up a pathway to resolution for all. Next slide. On average, our monthly income continues to increase as we add new payment plans on old cases. More dollars are coming in. It was $40,000 approximately last year, and so far this year, more than $50,000 monthly. Next slide, please. DRIP continues to be a triple win. The county gets additional revenue, victims who are owed restitution are getting paid, and defendants have the opportunity to clear up debts that have been a cloud over them for decades. They can do so with a manageable payment plan so that they can move forward with their lives. I want to thank the commissioners, adult probation, the courts and court administration for supporting the program, and a special thank you to Cindy Warfel, who's with us today, who does the day-to-day work, intense work with defendants to make the DRIP program work. That concludes my presentation.
Any questions from the commissioners?
No.
Well,
Thank you very much.
thank you for presenting that, and thank you for the work you're doing on it. It was a great investment.
I'm sorry, you say that again, Commissioner? Was people were clapping?
I'm sorry. I couldn't see you at that time. We're moving to public comment, and the first speaker is Beth Ziegler.
Wow, this is my debut. I am Beth Ziegler. I am committee woman for Shelley up in Milford Township in the great state of Pennsylvania. And so I'm here this morning about election integrity. There's my countdown. It's very important to all of us, absolutely, thank you. It's something that we have got to guard on every aspect. Election integrity affects us all, and I got thinking about it, and one of the things that crossed my mind is I heard that mail-in ballots through the post office And there's not, what is the chain of custody? I guess we'll just go that. What does the post office do with non-deliverables? Who picks them up from the post office and returns them to the Board of Elections? And what does the Board of Elections do with them? Are they destroyed? From my research in this, I have found that the process is that most political, excuse me, pieces of mail gets a barcode and are tracked with what's called an intelligent mail barcode. This identifies the mailer, the tracking service requested, and the disposition of undeliverable mail, and the unique identifier of the addressee, so who's it going to? All this is within that barcode. You might know this, but I didn't, so this was really enlightening to me. So I've heard of countless people explain to me that they are receiving mail-in ballots they never requested. Now, where are they coming from? Interesting. So that raises some more questions. Unsure of the origin of the ballot raises these questions, knowing that the barcode tracks this. The info is sent back to the sender, whoever sent the ballot, and all this information was it delivered or was it not? If it wasn't deliverable and it was returned to the post office, which raises a couple more questions. Typically, if it's undeliverable, it goes back to the post office into an unsecured recycle bin on the loading dock. The sender is given this information that the ballot was not claimed and is now vulnerable for the possibility of who knows what. We just need to know that it's not being manipulated by whoever sent that mail-in ballot to begin with. So these are a lot of questions. Election integrity is important to us all because our republic needs to be defended from any kind of tampering with. So I appreciate your time, and maybe you have
You're muted, Commissioner.
I was having trouble being able to hear you guys before. Did you want to go ahead and finish the employee recognition?
Yeah, we did. Just before we recommence with public comment, Jenny Reimold from Parks and Rec did come in just before we started public comment, and so we did want to recognize her. 30 years at Park and Recreation, so please, Ms. Reimold, come on forward. You can speak to the microphone if you want. Say anything? No? Okay. Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and thank you, Jody. The next speaker is Bill Everett.
Good morning. My name is Bill Everett, and I am an elected committeeman in Middletown Township. My topic today is non-citizen voting. Facts show that there are as many as 24 million non-citizens residing in the U.S. Non-citizen voting is illegal. Every non-citizen vote defranchises a citizen's vote. There are two nonpartisan websites that provide information about this issue and other election integrity issues that I recommend you review. The first site is onlycitizensvotecoalition.com. That's all one word, onlycitizensvotecoalition.com. This site has a terrific resource tab with info on the SAFE Act. The second site is whoscounting.us. That's whoscounting, W-H-O-S, counting.us. This site is the National Election Integrity Network that has a great info on its resources tab and host weekly Zoom calls on election integrity specific to Pennsylvania and nationally. I recommend you review the details of the legislation working their way through Congress and how your current vetting procedures can be updated to support the new law once it goes into effect. That legislation is House Bill H.R. 8281 and Senate Bill SB 4292. Both are called Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. The Senate will be voting on SB 4292 by the end of September. Please call our U.S. senators and voice your support for SB 4292. If you have any questions about election integrity, I can be reached via email at william.everett0218@gmail.com. Thank you for your time this morning, and I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to describe how our Board of Elections deters non-citizen voting. Thank you.
Curcio.
At the conclusion of World War II, the United Nations was founded in 1948, and the USA was included in the vision to pave the way for one world government. The very definition of the type of government means that every nation in the world would not just be a member of the UN, but subject to its authority. This global governance move began the agenda of the 21st century, or in short, Agenda 21. It started the official United Nations Blueprint Plan to micromanage every aspect of human life as it created the New World Order. In 1991, President George H.W. Bush officially put the United States into the plan, and he said they would accomplish the New World Order in several speeches and addresses to the country. This idea was born out of the unipolar status of the United States, with the Soviet Union collapse and the need for a new international framework to govern global relations. Agenda 21 did not fully succeed, but like good stewards of the Marxist agenda, the globalists continued this path. And on September 25th, 2015, the 193 member countries of the UN General Assembly, including some of the most horrible regimes that exist with communist rule, adopted. Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development as Assembly Resolution 70/1. In June of 2024, I saw the Bucks County adopt Bucks 2040, Building Our Future Comprehensive Plan on 6/3/2024. The mission for what I read is for the future land use and growth expectation. The Bucks County Agenda 2040 brochure details a comprehensive plan with colorful duplications and lays out concepts and planning based on research. To the average person, it shows how Bucks County will positively progress. Marxists love the term progress. You will be given a very comprehensive booklet that outlines the UN Global Plan, Agenda 2030. The Bucks County Agenda 24, your purpose aligns perfectly with the UN Agenda 2030. Thank you all for being useful puppets of the globalist agenda to move Bucks County along with other counties in PA and elsewhere to conform. I watch prior county commissioners' meetings, and I constantly hear the commissioners say, we are a democracy. Please go back and read history to understand that at the conclusion of the 1787 convention in Philadelphia, Dr. Franklin responded to a question about what the delegates of the convention created or did. Dr. Franklin stated, they created a republic, madam, if you can keep it. The U.S. and even Bucks County is a republic, and we run elections to form a constitutional republic as promised in the U.S. Constitution. We operate under democratic principles, but our individual rights and freedoms come from God. These individual rights are enumerated in the U.S. Constitution, but the federal and state local governments were instituted by men. We operate bottoms up, not top down, and we, the people, are learning how to do it again. We are not a county where the mob rules.
You may have to say that again, Commissioner.
Rochelle Porto.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate
Thank you, Beth. This is a democracy, big D, which the Democrat Party publicly and ultimately rewrite our history. Back to Agenda 2040. While I need to study this comprehensive plan a little bit more and ask questions to the commissioners, the persons who will implement the plan, I do know that along with Bucks County, we will keep an eye on this alignment toward helping the United Nations achieve their goal to transform the world one small township at a time. I've looked at and seen several small townships that are already invested in achieving Agenda 2030 through their voluntary partnership with Sustainable PA, which is most likely partnered with the International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives, called ICLEI. ICLEI is a UN partner that is committed to sustainable urban development. As you review the booklet we have given you, Agenda 2030 and you will see how Bucks County's comprehensive 2040 agenda booklet aligns perfectly. What you're not realizing, or maybe you do, is that the problems that you want to fix or we want to fix are man-made problems and issues of today. While we need to fix some problems that we face, understand that these agendas steer Bucks County into a path of a future that is including global governance. You will see some problems which ultimately will be fixed, may need bigger help. Isn't that why our townships love grants and federal government loans? Remember what defines enslavement. As defined, the borrower is beholden to the lender or the grantor. Agenda 2030 outlines a plan for the people and the planet, prosperity, peace, and partnerships. All great initiatives. I know everyone agrees that we should not live in poverty and everyone should have food and shelter. We agree that we want clean water, land, and air. We want to ensure economic growth and prosperity. Who doesn't want peace in their lives? For global partnerships, I'm not sure if that's possible unless other countries are like the United States and will give individual rights and freedoms like our constitutional republic does. As I've stated above, we must learn what Agenda 2040 is going to do, but if it means more government controlling our lives and the lives of residents as to what we use, how we use it, what we put in our homes, what we can't put in our homes, then I'm against it. If it means government can use eminent domain to take precious farmland and create carbon capture pipelines and put farmland into conservatorships, preventing them from growing food and sustain our lives, then I'm against it. If this plan will create 15-minute walkable cities and limit travel and freedom and inability to grow prosperity, then I'm against it. Please stop these bills moving through the General Assembly in Harrisburg. They are state control over housing and zoning instead of keeping it local. Stop Senate Bill 1126, House Bill 2045, and House Bill 1976. Also, while you're at it, please call Congressman Fitzpatrick to sponsor and co-sponsor, the HR 6645, which is the Defund Act of 2023, defund the United Nations.
That's wrong.
Beth Roth, Bedminster Township. I want to begin by saying that I was saddened with Mr. Harvey's comments at the last meeting. Although I do applaud you for defending your employees, that was good, but we never attacked your employees. You have terrific employees. Randy and Teresa, Kelly, Ned, they're all terrific. We've never attacked people. We ask questions about process. And I was able to observe all of the processes, almost all of them, that we go through in the process of starting an election, carrying it through Election Day, and finishing up with certification. So, speaking of process then, we attended all of the sessions of the logic and accuracy testing. We were not allowed to see anything. We couldn't understand it. We had to stand so far back. We were not allowed to ask questions. And it just looked like a routine thing. The employee came up, put the ballots through. We couldn't ask questions, and we had questions. The precinct reconciliation, I asked questions about why, if I'm taking my canvas sheet with numbers from the machine, because we got them from the tape, and now I'm comparing those numbers to what was printed off of the flash drive, which is also numbers from the machine, what does that prove? And mail-in ballots were not included in that process of precinct reconciliation, and it's the law that they be included. And I don't have the number for the statute, but I promise you I will email it to you. So anyway, I just came to say we are not attacking any people. We're looking at the processes, and we're trying to figure out where they can be improved, how can we work together to improve these processes so that the citizens of Bucks County can have confidence in the fact that these elections are fair. And by the way, I loved your comment about us being an echo chamber. That was very clever. Thank you.
Chris Harm.
Good morning. I'm Chris Harm, recently elected committeewoman in Middletown. I'm responding to Mr. Harvey's comments he previously made about the movie 2,000 Mules. After hours of research, I found no report of anyone who worked on the film claiming that it was all fake. There may have been a disgruntled ex-employee who claimed it was fake, but I couldn't find any information about this. The film discussed how they tracked people all over the country. They used the same technology that is being used to track down J6ers, and it's also the same technology that they used to help Georgia police solve the case of a murder of a young girl. The film shows that people were tracked going around from ballot box to ballot box. They traveled around a city, a county, or various counties while doing this. Most people did this in the middle of the night, but some boldly did it in broad daylight. They would approach the ballot box, often wearing surgical gloves, placing multiple ballots in a box. Some would fumble and difficultly putting the ballots in, drop them and pick them up and try to shove them back in again. Some would take a picture of what they did to prove that they accomplished their task. Those wearing the gloves would dispose them in a nearby trash can. One woman was filmed in Georgia. Her phone had been traced to be from South Carolina. She walked up to the ballot box wearing gloves, putting the ballots in the box. She took her pictures, turned around, removed the gloves, and placed them in the trash can. It's noted that she didn't look at the trash can as she approached the ballot box, so it appears that she may have been there before. Also, this woman from South Carolina has also been tracked stuffing ballots in Georgia during 2 different election cycles. The film shows that some people were tracked stopping at locations called stash houses to pick up ballots that they would be distributing. One man was tracked in Georgia. He was a black man wearing tan clothing, driving a red car. During one night, he traveled through 6 counties, going to 7 ballot boxes, stopping along the way at 5 different locations for ballots. This film also showed a report from Gwinnett County, didn't say what county the state this county was in, but they tracked 21 people stopping at the same ballot within 25 hours. The officials came to collect the day's ballots, and there were 1,962 ballots in the box. Mr. Harvey, you may say there was no fraud. That's your opinion. My opinion, along with millions of others, that there was much fraud, and this film is just one small sampling of what's been going on. Thank you for your time.
Angie Warren.
Couple things. I want to speak specifically to our attitude of this summer. Last week, 3 weeks ago, excuse me, I was moved to disrupt the decorum of this meeting by questioning what was coming from up there. For that disruption, I apologize. But now I want to speak to what caused the disruption. For the past parts of the summer, I've heard words like, from the commissioners. That's a stupid comment. That's a racist approach. Stories about rich white men having the audacity to question a trial that any person with a brain of a gnat who knows will be overturned immediately after the election. The idea we're tired of this nonsense about hearing of foreign countries. Well, it just so happens that yesterday, none other than Jeff Zuckerberg, not a foreign country, in cooperation with the White House, said that in fact his company had been giving misleading information, for which me and a number of the people behind me have been referring all summer. The idea of COVID and the information that caused many people in here to question up there and were decried as less than scientific. That's not acceptable in a governmental exchange, which should last more than 3 minutes, by the way. Barry Loudermilk of Congress had investigated the January 6th issue. What that found was that there were that the day before the Republicans took over Congress, the committee erased hundreds of testimony. Where is it? That was also written by Shelley Corbett of the AP. She refers to ballot voting in France that is done in person one day, sign in, and hand counted by volunteers, much of which has come before this committee. You ought to be pleased that your constituents come to you with questions of government. We look to you as defenders, not destroyers of democracy. This country has just seen, in my opinion, a coup. We got a candidate for president who won't even tell us what he believes. You, more than anybody, from defending government, I implore you as a leader of your
That
party.
concludes public comment. We'll move to the consent agenda. The motion to approve the consent agenda for August 7th, 2020 board meeting. Is there a motion?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, you're going to have to restate that?
Moving to the consent agenda, I'm wondering if we can have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from August 7th, 2024, and items 1 through 24.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving to the regular agenda, we have budget adjustments. Mr. Pascola?
Thank you, Commissioner, for your consideration. For your consideration this morning, adjustment number 12 and 13 for 2024. Adjustment number 12 is for additional expenditures for the grand jury. For adjustment number 13, the county received an additional $682,000 in grant revenue for the ERAP program. This will allow for the recognition of the grant and the expenditures for that program. It's expected that that program will run through the end of this year.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Pascola? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the adjustments number 12 and 13 under number 25?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there a motion to approve the personnel actions for today?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll move to board appointments. Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Couple of appointments. A reappointment to the Bucks County Human Relations Council, 3-year term for Ms. Seema Cosme. Term will end 8/1/2027. A 2-year appointment, new appointment, Mr. John Rarig to the Bucks County Solid Waste Advisory Committee. That term will end 6/3/2025. And for the Bucks County Workforce Development Board, these are 3-year terms. Dr. Patrick Jones, the new president of the community college, is a new appointment. His term will end 8/29/2027. And Heather Giampapa, new appointment, her term will end 8/29/2027. I'll make a motion for those 4 appointments.
Second.
Is there, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. For other civics, we have 3 instead. One is Lebanon Valley Suicide Prevention Conference, $1,200. NAMI Bucks County, $3,000, and potential INC, $3,000. Is there a motion to approve those other civics?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our Chief Operating Officer report.
Thank you, Commissioner. I just want to take a few minutes to say thank you to our financial staff in the county departments and the row offices and court admin for their work on the upcoming 2025 budget. I know it takes a lot of your time and effort in the narrative and crunching the numbers, but we appreciate you and we appreciate all that you're doing to help us get to the 2025 budget to present to the commissioners in the future. So that concludes my report.
Thanks very much. Our solicitor's report.
Thank you, Commissioner. I just have one item to report. The board held its standing executive session yesterday, August 28th, with staff and legal counsel present to discuss personnel matters, pending litigation regarding the Zimmerman v. Schmidt matter, and to receive confidential legal advice. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Moving to Commissioner comments. Commissioner DeGirolamo?
If I might, Madam Chair, just on a personal note, I know the date today is August 28th, and tomorrow is the 29th on a Thursday. And 50 years ago tomorrow, I was doing what I would normally do when I was 24 years old, working on the farm. And Thursday was always a busy day because it was the last market day of the week. So we were very busy. So I started working on the farm, and we were harvesting the crops, getting ready to send them down to the market in Philadelphia. And about 3:30, we usually work till 5:30, about 3:30, I was allowed to go home early that day, which was very unusual. And the reason I was allowed to go home early that day was because at 6 o'clock that night at St. Charles Borromeo Catholic Church, me and my wife Donna were going to get married that night. That's 50 years ago tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to be celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary. And I would just like to, I doubt very much if my wife is watching this, but I would just like to wish her a very, very happy 50th anniversary. We've raised 4 children, we have 6 grandchildren, and we are actually raising a grandson right now who's 14 years old and just started high school. So hasn't always been easy, as everyone knows who raises, especially raising children. There's always little bumps in the road as you raise your children, but I'm just very proud of the fact that we've been able to make 50 years. So happy anniversary, Donna. Thank you.
Commissioner Harvey?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Drama, clearly your wife is not a fan of term limits. So, no, certainly congratulations to you and your wife. So, just a few things to touch on. United Nations, obviously getting a target today. The United Nations was founded October 1945. The Treaty of San Francisco is what established the United Nations, not 1948. So if we're going to make a tax, let's try and be somewhat accurate, at least pretend. Discussion about not wanting federal grants, I'm sure, or state grants, as we look through our agenda and we see revenue coming in for our prison, for our district attorney's office. I know certainly most of our departments get federal grants, state grants of some kind to keep our parks open, to keep our children safe, our senior citizens safe. You know, I think it's, you know, it's clearly shows a very naive look at how things work, just in general. The 2,000 mules, It took me about 45 seconds to find the Associated Press article from February 14th, 2024, and I'll just read the first line. Conservative group has told a Georgia judge that it doesn't have evidence to support its claims of illegal ballot stuffing. Texas-based True the Vote filed complaints with the Georgia State Board of Elections in 2021, and then had to admit, actually, they had no evidence. The publication or the production company that published the book and the movie apologized for doing so and pulled both. That was earlier this year. You don't tend to do that if you have faith in whatever it is that you did. So, I think, again, it took me less than a minute to find that. Not knowing what exactly, the Vice President of the United States stands for seems a curious comment, considering the fact that she has a history as a district attorney, an attorney general, a senator, a vice president, decades of experience in government, serving in various offices, and also just had a convention a week ago where she gave a pretty lengthy speech. So I'm not really sure, what exactly, if you see you don't know what she stands for, she's not saying anything, I don't really know what that means. Lastly, for this discussion, we are going to defend our employees, especially at Board of Elections. And when we've fielded questions for years and years now about how elections work. We have been very upfront, very open about the process. We admitted to the people that I've likened it to an iceberg. We know only, the average person when it comes to voting in elections knows only what they see. It's a very, very tiny part of the whole process. I've admitted here that I was a committee person for 20 years before I got this job. I was in my precinct twice a year doing the counts, sitting next to committee people from the other party and with the election workers and going through and making notes and checking our math with each other. I watched that process happen. Until I get this job, I didn't realize how much more complex the system was. And I consider myself a pretty educated person on this. So it is an incredibly complex system. In that complexity are checks and triple checks and double checks and on top of checks to make sure that everything is done properly. And it has been done. But there are people who run that system. Yes, they follow laws. Yes, they follow policies. But they are people. They're employees, some of whom have been here for decades. Some have only been here for a couple years. They're from whatever party they want to be from, or not from a party at all. They are the ones who carry elections out. You're not attacking, myself or Commissioner DiGirolamo or Commissioner Marseglia. We're not the ones who do the work. We just sort of sit back and watch them do it. So if you're questioning the integrity of the system, and this isn't just here, you're questioning the people themselves who are doing it, and that is what you're doing. You can say you're not, but that is what you're doing. That is why this is what you're doing. Because please stop yelling from the audience. Please stop yelling from the audience. So when you question how a process works, there are people who run the process. This isn't coming. There's no aliens from another planet doing this. The people who are setting up the machines and testing the machines are employees. They're the ones who do that work, okay? And so that's something I've tried to sort of be upfront about when you do this kind of, questioning. And questions are fine, but when you're making accusations, you're accusing the people who work here of doing something wrong. And you can say that you're not, but you are, because they're the ones who do it. So if the system's wrong, if you're saying the system's wrong, they're the ones who are the system, okay? Finally, just on a more positive note, didn't necessarily end the way I'm sure they wanted it to, but congratulations to the Newtown Little League All-Star team for making it to the Little League World Series. Obviously winning for the Mideast Championship, which is no small feat by itself, getting to that stage, getting to go to Williamsport, playing against teams from around the country. It was I know if you saw the One News article, one of the players had, I think, a grandfather or great-grandfather who played on the Little League World Series for Newtown back, I think it was in the 50s. Congratulations to them, their coaches. I'm sure, obviously, the sting of not making it as far as they wanted to make it hopefully has gone away at this point. But certainly it's quite an achievement to make the All-Star team first off, and then for that All-Star team to go through all the games, tournaments that it did and get to the level they did. So congratulations to them and their coaches and their families. And, they did us proud. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you for all the comments. In conclusion, I just want to apologize. I understand that the video from me was cut, so I don't know if you saw me. I appreciate your tolerance with my chairing the meeting in this manner today, and I wonder if there's a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.